Welcome everybody to the Hot Tag Hooligans Wrestling Podcast Show with myself, Aaron, and Tom. We're on that road to WrestleMania, Tom. And one stop that everyone loves on this road to WrestleMania is the Royal Rumble, which happens this Saturday night. And to help us break it down, we got a former guest of ours back once again. Everyone knows her. She's with SES Scoops, Wrestling Incorporated. She's a Wrestling Gals podcast and Wrestle Zone. Ella, you are everyone. The incredible Ella J's with us.
Thank you for having me back. Yeah, it's been about a year. I think I was on your wrap up for 2022 podcast last. A lot has changed in the last year. I was at last year's Royal Rumble. I wish I was there this year, but I'm excited to talk about, like we were saying, our favorite pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, I would assume the weather down in Tampa is probably better than what it is here.
Yeah, that is very true. Oh yeah.
I know last couple of weeks we were down into like 9 degrees, 8 degrees. Now today we're at 58 and it's pouring rain and it's messy and foggy. So
It's foggy here. Today was in the 30s here. But yeah, we basically it wasn't like it wasn't the most intense blizzard ever for the Buffalo region. But yeah, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago was a completely different story than now weather-wise.
now before we get going on the Royal Rumble, I want to get your quick thoughts on the WWE's potential deal here with Netflix that was kind of broken yesterday. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I'm just honestly good for them. I'm just concerned, like, what's gonna happen with the commercial thing? Because there's plans that have commercials, plans that don't. Am I gonna have to pay extra in order to view Raw? I'm already paying for Netflix. Are they gonna move the network thing to Netflix? I'm just more worried about the cost of things. I think it's exciting for them, and it's streaming, which is a lot of people prefer. I'm just more worried about what the cost is gonna look like for this, honestly.
Yeah, we were both kind of talking about, do they change the premium live event formula that they're using now
Yeah.
and what that would do to the average wrestling fan, the average household probably isn't going to want to fork out 50, 60, $70 a month. And some of these pay-per-views, like if you look at UFC, it seems like they go up every year. And I just don't see the wrestling fan base paying that, so we'll see.
Yeah, we haven't paid really for pay-per-view since the network 2014-ish. It's
Yeah.
been about a decade since they went away from the $50 like pay-per-views. I remember they used to be like 39.99, 49.99 depending on what pay-per-view it was, sometimes more than that. So we're kind of the last decade, we're kind of used to have it being on a reasonable streaming service. I just want to know, are they going to still have stuff on Peacock, like you said, the PLEs, and is just Raw? Netflix is only going to have Raw. I'm interested to know more details about that too, and what the price points are going to look like.
I think we're about to get into this era where the big four pay-per-views, I think we will pay for WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, and Royal Rumble. I can see that.
I can see that too. I would probably pay for three out of the four of those, for sure. But I feel like we're so spoiled now the last decade of not having, at least WWE pay-per-views wise, being at a reasonable cost.
That's true. We'll have to see. It's 2025 when that deal kind of goes in effect. I'm sure they're going to be working out a lot of kinks between now and then. But again, this Saturday is the Royal Rumble. Um, a lot of mystery this year. Sometimes you can kind of feel what's about to happen. And this year, there's a lot of question marks about what could or could not happen. And we'll start off with the United States Championship match. Uh, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. Owens, of course, earned the right by winning the tournament. All right, Ella, let's go to you first.
Poor Kevin Owens does not have the best track record at the Royal Rumble at bet. Previously, losing Rumble matches, losing to Roman Reigns twice, and unfortunately, I think that streak is going to continue. Especially going into WrestleMania season, I think they're going to want to have a figure like a Logan Paul who can bring in some eyes. And I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to have a championship, but I feel like it elevates him a little bit. It adds something to him too coming into WrestleMania season. I think Logan is going to beat Kevin Owens clean. No. But I do think Logan Paul is going to retain simply because WWE is going to want, that attraction like a Logan Paul heading into WrestleMania with some extra leverage being the United States Championship.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I tend to agree. The only thing I could see is if someone were to come in and cost him, that would maybe set up a bigger match for WrestleMania, a grudge match or something. But if that doesn't happen, I don't see him not walking into WrestleMania as the United States champion.
My pick is Logan Paul, and it's because I think the WrestleMania match is going to be Logan and Jake Paul versus Kevin and Sammy.
Oh.
I can see where Kevin is having some trouble beating because Jake's getting involved. They always want some kind of high profile match. And since Logan's been around now, I don't know how high profile he is in that area now because he is a champion. But bringing Jake Paul in to take on Sammy and KO, I think could be the Mania match. And that's the way I want to kind of lean with that one. And that's the reason why I think you're looking at Logan Paul retaining that title.
And if there's anybody, I mean, who can kind of protect a Jake Paul, I mean, we saw Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Sami Zayn is one of the people, much like a Miz, who could protect those celebrity. I mean, it is WrestleMania. I would be surprised if we had no celebrity like matches. But that's a very possibility too as well. I just worry then, does the United States Championship bounce to somebody else then, or do you keep it in that scene? It kind of takes a championship match off of the card. But that is something I can see happening too as well. Sammy's taking some time off. Kevin is going to be going to blows with Logan Paul. Maybe if Kevin can't beat Logan and Logan continues to be a thorn in his side, I can absolutely see Sammy and Kevin linking back up.
And we go to Tom's favorite wrestler, Roman Reigns, defending the Undisputed
You're like me,
Universal.
Tom. You're like me. You should say that about me too, because I'm in the same boat as you, Tom.
But
Undisputed
most of the
Universal
world
Heavyweight
is.
Championship. Yeah, against Tom's real favorite, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton in a fatal four-way match. Tom, your opinion first.
Well, I don't see Reigns losing this match because it doesn't make sense for that loss to be there. But I mean, it's hard for me because if you wanted to do, let's say they did get The Rock versus Roman at Mania, it would not have to be for a title, and this would be one way to get the belt off of Roman. If they go that route, it's got to be Orton. It's got to be. But they haven't done it yet. I don't think he's going to lose that match. I think he's going to find a way to cheat like he always does, and he's going to end up as champion at the end of the night.
Ella.
Tom, you're paving the way for my argument. And yeah, I'm a little biased, whatever, because I'm over this reign as well. But from what I think the plan is going to be Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. And then I think if Seth is cleared, it's gonna be Seth and Punk. But then I also think, it's gonna be Orton and Cody. Um, you know, like Tom said, you don't necessarily need a championship for Rock and Roman. And so, I mean, yeah, it would be kind of anticlimactic for Roman's reign to lose, to end in like a four-way match. He doesn't even get pinned, but that also kind of protects him a little bit because he doesn't need, I think LA Knight is going to end up taking the pin in this match no matter what. Um, so I think maybe it's because like I'm an Orton fan, but I think Orton winning the championship and then but then again, there's been reports of Cody not finishing his story, so now I'm kind of swaying against it. I don't know. If those reports are false, though, Orton then wins the title. Cody wins Chamber. You set up Cody and Orton. They have that history at first. They could be friendly, but then you get heel Orton back. Cody finishes his story. Maybe that's just me fantasy booking, but I think it's going to be Orton and Cody at WrestleMania. It could be without a title, could be not, but I'm going to be bold and say Randy Orton is going to dethrone the Tribal Chief.
Yeah, the rumors today have been
I know. That's why it's like,
nuts.
ugh.
And I originally I had your plan kind of laid out. You go Punk and Rollins, Cody and Orton, because there's the backstory there, and then Rock and Roman. But then today, when stuff starts
Yeah.
spewing, and you never know how much of it's true and how much
Yeah.
of it's not, it got me thinking a little bit. And I do think that Roman's going to retain the title here, no matter what. And I think AJ will take the pinfall, um, because they like keeping LA a little bit hot, and AJ's just kind of there. They really didn't even need to throw AJ in this match, to be honest with you. It could have been a three-way, triple threat, but there's still time to do something with Cody and Roman at Mania 2. I had this philosophy of maybe night one you do Roman and The Rock, and then night two Cody gets the winner. Um,
That leaves CM Punk off of a main event of WrestleMania. Do you have Rowan main event 2 nights in a row?
Rock and Roman doesn't have the main event because Hogan and Rock did that main event. I think
They
there's a
could
time
open
or
the show
place.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's time or place for both of those. Where it could work. I mean, it really could work. I just don't think that they're going to pull the trigger on it though. So I'm going to go with Roman retaining for right now. Again, a lot can happen between now and then, but that's where I'm going to go with it.
I mean, I can absolutely see if it's not Randy, it's Roman retaining. I mean, you can do Randy and Cody without a title. I just think that would sweeten the deal for Cody. But after the reports today, I'm not as confident in it. Um, but man, that what a moment. I mean, that would be to see Roman Reigns finally dethroned. I'm waiting for that moment.
But I think a lot of maybe the rumors are being put out there for a reason to make people think other things.
Yeah, they've
Get
swerved us. Fake stuff has been put out all the time, or higher ups telling people a certain thing that's not true, but they think it's true to swerve people. It's very possible. I thought I was for certain Cody was gonna beat Roman last year, and that wasn't the case. There's swerves all the time.
for people who kind of wonder what we're talking about, Sports Illustrated put out an article today basically stating that sources close to Triple H are stating that Gunther is actually going to win the Royal Rumble and that the plan is for Gunther and Rollins and then Cody to wrestle Punk is the
I
rumors that are flying.
and that Cody wasn't going to finish his story. I mean, I think it maybe it's not should, but I think it should and will be Gunther and Brock. And I think it should be Punk and Rollins. And if Rollins, if God forbid, is not cleared, then I think it should be Drew and Punk. But that's a conversation we'll probably talk about once we get to the men's rumble. There's so much uncertainty floating about, but that's what we love about the rumble is the uncertainty. There's multiple people who could win both the men's and the women's rumbles.
All right, so let's go to the women's. And for people to know, this is not a very big card. Of course, there could be something added on SmackDown this week, but basically, the Royal Rumble matches itself carry this show. Let's talk about the women's Royal Rumble, and when we go, tell us who your final four are, the final two, and who takes it home. Ella.
Final two, final four. I mean, I know what I think will happen and who is most likely to win in my case. Final four, I don't know. I think that there's going to be certain events that are going to happen though. Bailey right now is at the top of the betting odds. I don't think she is going to win, but heading into this, she has been proclaiming she wants this prophecy for Damage Control. She wants all the gold, and I think the Kabuki Warriors are going to win the tag team titles on Friday, but I don't think Bailey is going to win the Royal Rumble. I think Damage Control is going to turn on her either by a cleared Dakota Kai eliminating her or the Kabuki Warriors eliminating her and setting up a feud that way. Final four, I think Nia Jax has to be in the final four. Probably Nia and Becky, I think, are also going to be in the final four. Who else in there? I know who I want to win, but I'm trying to think of who else could be in that final four. Somebody like a vet or something. I know who I think is going to be the first two in the Rumble, but final four. I don't know who the fourth person would be. But I think I think after reports today of a certain talent being expected to be in Tampa, I think Jade Cargill is winning the Women's Royal Rumble. You look surprised. Hear me out though. So by my line of thinking, Damage Control turns on Bailey. Um, Bailey, then I think Becky is going to win Chamber. I think along the way, Bianca's probably going to get a shot at Io Sky for some reason. And I think Bailey is going to cost Io Sky the championship because they turned on her, setting up Bianca to head into WrestleMania. Um, you know, with the championship. And then you get Jade and Bianca. So maybe it's a complicated way, but I think Jade and Bianca is a WrestleMania dream match. And then it also sets up Damage Control, Bailey and Io, I think is a match that they could do, or something with Dakota Kai. And then I think Becky winning Chamber goes after Rhea Ripley. So I know it's a complicated way. I don't know how that final other four person would be, or who the final two are. I think Nia and Becky are probably going to take out each other. And then I don't know who my final two would be with Jade Cargill. But I think Jade is going to win. I know it's complicated, but like, hear me out. It makes sense in my head.
No, I follows you. If you would have told me 3 months ago, Jade, I would have thought, yeah, could have seen it. But this whole time until you started talking, I really took it into consideration that Io was going to take the belt into Mania. And then you kind of broke it down that way, and I was like, dang, that really makes sense too. I'll stick with my final four of Tiffany Stratton.
I think Tiffany and Becky are going to be the first two in the Rumble, or Becky and a member of Damage Control.
I think they're going to push Tiffany Stratton hard in this Royal Rumble, and she'll be there close towards the end. So I think she'll be one of the final four. Becky and Nia, and then it was Bailey for me, and I think Bailey's going to win because I thought Bailey would go into WrestleMania to wrestle Io. Now that you have said Jade, I will still say I like it better that Bianca doesn't have a match for Mania and Jade steps up to the plate, and that's Jade's first match in the WWE is at Mania against Bianca.
Okay.
So, but Bailey is my pick. Tom?
So after you guys have both talked about it, now I've got all kinds of ideas swirling around. But my final four was Bailey, Becky, Nia Jax, and Jade. And my original thought was you don't put Jade in the Rumble unless she wins it. And then I thought, unless you're setting up a match for WrestleMania. And I would have Nia Jax eliminate Jade, and then Jade beat Nia Jax at WrestleMania. Because they've been building Nia Jax up as somebody that can't be beaten. And what better way to establish Jade as a star by defeating Nia Jax at WrestleMania? But I do have Bailey ending up winning the whole thing. But now that I've heard your guys' arguments, I don't have a clue. I like you guys' ideas better than mine.
There's so many ways they could, like, this is the unpredictability I love, I mean it could very well be Bailey, but I don't see a WrestleMania. I mean, it could just be they turn on Damage Control, turns on her, and then Bailey then challenges Io for the title. I just don't see Bailey winning. I see Becky absolutely winning Chamber to then face Rhea. But again, I think Rhea's absolutely heading into WrestleMania as champion. I'm not sold on Io completely unless Bailey wins the Royal Rumble. If Bailey does not win, then I believe we're having a title change on the SmackDown sides of things heading into WrestleMania.
Now, maybe I'm wrong, but wasn't Rhea supposed to headline the Elimination Chamber since it's in Australia? So
Yes,
wouldn't
that is
so
true.
is her belt maybe not going to be on the line in the chamber?
Oh, that's a possibility. See, I think that they have to set up a number one contender for the other, whatever the other women's championship is. So I think we're going to get a women's chamber and Rhea defending because they have to set up somebody for WrestleMania to go after Rhea. assuming that the Rumble winner isn't going after Rhea. But you have to have a chamber match for the women to decide who's facing the other champion that the Royal Rumble winner is not, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you. I think it's going to be the old Becky, John Cena type story. I don't have a Mania match. I lost the Rumble. I don't know where I'll go from here. And then she wins like the Chamber. I do think that that's the clear path for Becky to get to Rhea for sure. So,
That is possible. Yeah. There's so many different ways, you know. Um yeah, like I said, if Bailey wins, then she's absolutely challenging Io, but if Bailey does not win, then I'm fully certain that we're going to be getting a new champion on the SmackDown brand.
all right, the men's same way. Tom, we'll start with you this time. Final four, and then who takes it home?
So my final four is Cody, Punk, Gunther, and Brock. I feel like you have to have Brock in the Royal Rumble because surely they're going to have him in a Mania match. So, what better way for him to come back is in that match? I think that match, the final four, will do something that will set up Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania. That's my pick for what happens. And then I think that Punk's going to actually win the Royal Rumble. He's going to eliminate Cody somehow, some way. May not be by himself, but Cody gets eliminated.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm all for Gunther being your new world champion. Because I absolutely love Gunther. So if he was to wrestle Seth and beat Seth, I'd be all for that. But the Brock Lesnar versus Gunther match intrigues me way more. Like that, oh, cannot wait for that. That's a lot of beef in the ring, let me just tell you, and that's going to be a banger. My final four, instead of Brock, though, is Drew. So I've got Cody, Punk, Drew, and Gunther. So that's who it goes. I also have Punk winning. Maybe there's just so much, what can you do? And that leaves the chamber with Drew in it. It leaves the chamber maybe with Brock in it, maybe with Gunther in it, and Cody. So that's a pretty good chamber match right there for the men's side down in Australia if you want to do that with very viable contenders. It would not shock me though if Damian Priest is winning the final four. It would not shock me if that's a situation as well. But yeah, Drew, Cody, Punk, and Gunther are my final four. Hello.
Who do you have winning, Aaron?
I have Punk as well.
So do I. Um, I can agree Cody is going to be in the final four. Drew, I can absolutely see. I don't know who my fourth person would be, but I absolutely maybe I think we should be getting Brock and Gunther for WrestleMania. Um I think a face off in the Rumble would ignite that. We had a very brief one last year. Um I think there's going to be some surprise in the final four though. Like somebody we're not expecting. I don't know. Not to say that this isn't going to happen, but maybe they might pull a swerve on like a 2011, have like an R-Truth in the final four or something. I think the fourth person is going to be a surprise. I think Drew is going to eliminate Jay probably. Um,
You made me just change my mind just real fast, okay? I
okay.
don't think Gunther's going to be in the final four now. I think him and
Yeah.
Brock will eliminate each other. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be I think Solo will be the fourth one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Solo. Oh, oh man, but now I'm thinking like Solo could eliminate Jay. I think Drew or yeah, Solo's a good one. Um Cody eliminating Solo. Um who did who would eliminate Drew? Cody would eliminate Drew, but then I think oh no. No, that would make sense. I think it might come down to Drew and Punk. I think Shinsuke Nakamura is going to eliminate Cody Rhodes out of a sneaky way. You know, it protects Cody a little bit. Um anything goes in the Royal Rumble. We've seen surprises. I think Cody is probably going to make it to the final three. I think I'm settled. Cody will eliminate Solo. Shinsuke will then surprise eliminate Cody. It's down to Drew and CM Punk. And I think CM Punk wins as well. And then I think Cody wins Chamber.
All right, you heard it here. Ella with the sneaky Shinsuke elimination.
I
Wow.
think it would make sense because Shinsuke doesn't seem to be done with Cody. We've only seen Shinsuke in like backstage segments, and he's been very like sneaky, dark, mysterious. I think that would be a shock. I mean, you're going to have a shock value no matter what, but you want some added surprises in there, And I think that would be what a way to eliminate, Cody. I mean, they could continue it, whatever, but I think it makes sense for Shinsuke to eliminate Cody. But then, Cody wins his way into Mania with the win at Chamber. And then I think we're getting Drew, or I think we should be getting Drew and Brock. Like, that just makes sense to me.
So let me ask you a question. When you look at the women's Royal Rumble, who are some NXT talent that you're hoping gets a look in the Royal Rumble this year?
Oh, absolutely, Tiffany. Um, I would say Roxanne, but she has a title match the next week. So I don't think we're going to be getting Lyra or Roxanne anymore because they have the title match the week after. I think that would, I don't know, definitely Tiffany though. Um I could see like a Lash Legend in there, is another powerhouse. Um I think I think they're at most there might be three like there was last year. I'm trying to think right now. I could see a Blair Davenport in there as well. Um, yeah, a Lash. Granted, they're all heels though. I think you would want one baby face. Maybe it could be Lyra. I'm trying to think who's like some like top baby faces right now. A Thea Hale would be really exciting, just a chaos that she could do. But I think it's a little too soon. Definitely, feel very confident about Tiffany. I think Tiffany um has a very high chance of being number two in the women's Royal Rumble, and Becky Lynch being number one because they sometimes like number one and two to have history with each other. So I would not be surprised if Tiffany is like number two.
And on the men's side,
Men's side for like NXT.
yeah.
I think at most we're gonna get one Carmelo. Uh, I think it has to be Carmelo. I think we're probably gonna get one NXT from the men's and probably one or two legend surprises. Because the men's there's less room, there's more talent. I think Carmelo is gonna be the only one from NXT, and then we'll have one or two surprise legends in the men's rumble.
Um, for me, I'm like you. I like Tiffany a lot. I do think they'll put Lyra in there and talk about how she beat Becky Lynch. And I think Becky will eliminate Lyra. Like they'll kind of beef it up, like, oh, here comes Lyra. She's got a chance
Yeah.
to get Becky, and she'll eliminate her. On the men's side, it won't shock me if Obafemi's in there. They're really starting to push him really hard. And some of those like are weird because Dragon Lee's on SmackDown, but he's also and
Yeah.
Carmella's the same way. Um, and then it wouldn't shock me if there's someone from Chase U just for comedic in a way, to do something. So, Tom, anybody you're looking forward to?
I mean, you guys have named just about everybody that I can think of, but
Braun. How do I forget about Braun Breaker? Oh my God. Braun, I think is another one too as well. Who he's been in NXT for. I think Carmelo and Braun seem to be the most likely. I'm so sorry, Tom. It just came to
no,
me.
you're yeah. The only thing with Braun is I think if he's in the Rumble, he's almost for sure to be called up, right?
I mean, him and Corbin are going to be in the. I mean, it's possible him and Corbin are going to be in the finals of the Tag Team Classic, though. And if they win that, they would get a title match. And not to say that he couldn't do double duty, but yeah, he could very well and just play double duty for a little bit.
That would be exciting to see. But I really don't think they're going to lean too heavily on NXT this year. I think there's a lot of talent on both brands, and they like to do the outside surprises too, and maybe get a few of those in there. But it's definitely a good opportunity to get some of the NXT talent in front of the normal, the big crowds to get just some some views on them because I still think there's a lot of people that don't really watch NXT regularly. So
Yeah. Well, and Tom will actually be at the NXT show. He's going to be just down in Clarksville, Tennessee, so he'll get to see all the action here in another week or so. Two more names to talk about. Do we see MJF or do we see Okada?
I am 99.9% certain we are not getting MJF. I honestly, I'm very close to leaning 100, but you can't. But I am 99.9% certain based on things that I know that MJF is not going to be there. Okada is more likely, but his contract is not up until January 31st. So Okada is more likely, but since his contract isn't up yet, I don't think he's going to yet.
Yeah, I believe MJF's already re-signed with AEW as well. I don't think that there's a chance in that. What about Mercedes?
Yes, I think Trinity is more likely than Mercedes. But I think Trinity, I'm like 75% certain Trinity's going to be returning. I don't see her and Mercedes returning on the same night. So I don't think Mercedes, if she returns to WWE, that it's going to be at the Royal Rumble. I think if she returns, it's either going to be on the road to WrestleMania or at WrestleMania. But I do feel pretty good about Trinity returning at the Royal Rumble.
so if
That's another.
Trinity returns at the Royal Rumble, do you not have her in the final four?
I just worry that WWE, I think she'll have a good run. I think she might enter early like a number 3 or a number 4, and she might go the distance. Like she went 2021, she entered at number 2. She lasted until like the final 8. She was in there for like 50 minutes, it was almost. I think she has a long run. Just WWE, I don't think they'll give her the final 4, but they might give her the Iron Woman spot.
I guess we'll probably have to get used to calling her Naomi again.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so
Maybe,
confusing.
or it may be Trinity.
It could be, yeah, it could be Trinity. Absolutely. All right, Ella. Before we let you go, tell everyone where they can find you because it's everywhere, girl.
You can find me on Twitter. I don't call it that other thing, that letter. No. You can find me on Twitter at it's Ella J. If you go to the link in my bio, all my links to all my writing and podcasts and projects are all in one convenient place and all my other socials.
Awesome, awesome. Also, everyone, we've got to tell you, there's a lot of great things happening, and hopefully, the next time we're on the air, Tom and I have a major announcement going on. But we want to remind everyone on May the 10th and 11th here in Evansville, Indiana, there is the Legends of Wrestling convention going on. A lot of old Mid South talent: Jerry the King Lawler, Austin Idol, Bill Dundee, Jimmy Valiant. All those going to be on hand for a roast of Jerry the King Lawler on Friday night, and then Saturday, a lot of talent will be in for the convention. So stop by and get your autographs. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to the Facebook page of Legends of Wrestling convention on Facebook, and it'll send you to the link for that. It's right in our back door, so we'll make sure we push that heavily. Also, Tom's book has been doing very well. He was just recently on the Linda Eastburn podcast. Go to her YouTube channel. That thing has already been watched. The interview with Tom has been watched over 2,600 times already, and it's only been like 3 or 4 days. So go check out that interview as well. Pick up a copy of both of our books at Barnes & Nobles. Hit the subscribe button for us as well. For myself, Tom, and Ella, we always appreciate having her on. Enjoy the Rumble, everybody, and we'll see y'all next week.